Met Opera Global Summer Campers. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here with all of you today. It is Wednesday. It is time for our Barbiere di Siviglia artist chat. Hello, friends. Welcome. I know you are here from all over the world today. I can see you in the chat. Let me know where you are. I see Spain. I see Singapore. I see New York City. That's where I am. Friends, if you are joining us for the first time, my name is Camp Counselor Dan, and boy, you picked a great day to drop in to the Met's Global Summer Camp. By way of introduction, I'm just going to describe myself for our friends. I am a white male. My pronouns are he, him. I have silvery black hair, greenish eyes. I have a signature mustache. And as always, I'm repping my brand here. I got my Met Opera Voices Rise t-shirt on. The wall behind me is a white wall, and there is a photograph of an elephant and a big chunky mirror right there. So friends, thanks for joining us for a banner day in the history of Met's Global Summer Camp. Today, we will be speaking with the renowned tenor, the bel canto superstar, Lawrence Brownlee. Can you believe that a global opera phenomenon like Lawrence is cutting a few minutes out of his incredibly busy life to hang out with all of us? I am losing my mind. I'm fanboying, as I know you like to say I'm fanboying. But I think in order to get us prepared to meet Lawrence, let's take a look at this little clip from Lawrence playing Count Almaviva in the Met's production of Barber of Seville. Here's Lawrence. Oh my gosh. I think the only thing left for us to do is to get this amazing artist into the chat right now. Please help me welcome Mr. Lawrence Brownlee. Lawrence, hi, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Camp Counselor Dan? I'm doing well.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining our Met Summer Campers. They are loving, amazing. That was awesome. I know. Quite a voice you have there, sir. So thank you for being with us today. We have friends joining us from all over the world. Hugs from Estonia. Lawrence,
Hey.
Now, I know this is your first time at the Met Global Summer Camp's Artist Chat, and we are so thrilled to have you. The way this works is that we take a bunch of questions from our campers from all over the globe, and you get a chance to answer them and imbue all of us with your wisdom and anything that you've learned along your journey through your life in music. So I say we dive into these questions. What do you think?
Let's jump right in.
All right, let's do it. Our first question comes from Taylor in Brooklyn, New York. This is Taylor.
Hi, my name is Taylor and I live in Brooklyn, New York. My question for Lawrence is, when you were a kid, did you sing in a choir? And when did you realize singing would become your career? Thank you.
Ooh, Taylor, what a great question.
Thank you, Taylor. Yes, I actually did start in church. I sang in a choir. I sang in a choir that my father directed and my mother sang the solos. So music was my background from the beginning. Before I started singing, I played instruments. So I loved music my whole life, but it was a little bit later on, maybe when I was 13 or 14 years old, that I started singing more than playing instruments. And when did I decide? When did I decide I was going to pursue it as my career? It was later on. I thought I was going to go to college to be a lawyer, but I had some teachers who told me that, hey, you have such an amazing voice that you need to be singing and touching the world with it. So that's how I started to decide. I made the decision a little bit later on to use my voice as my career and profession.
And Lawrence, I think you and I grew up actually very near each one another. I'm from Northern Ohio, and I believe you grew up in the Youngstown area of Ohio.
Yeah.
We're both Midwestern men from the United States of America here. What was it like growing up in Youngstown?
Well, it's a very blue collar city. And what that means, people work a lot of factory jobs. You don't have so many doctors and lawyers, but you have people that work with their hands and they build things or they repair things or work in factories, I guess is a way to say it. And so many of my family members worked in factories where they made cars or made car parts. And so that was very much the Midwestern experience. But someone told me that I had a gift that I should share with the world. So I decided I wouldn't do that.
Wow, that's remarkable. One of our campers asked, what instrument did you study before you took to singing?
Okay, so I'm going to show you a picture of you see those in the back?
Oh yeah, friends, can I just quickly describe your background, Lawrence? So Lawrence is in a red shirt that says Indiana University alumni,
Yes.
and behind him on his screen, friends, are it looks like a bunch of music manuscripts, some albums, and I see on the ground there a bunch of guitars.
Yes.
Wow.
So I played the electric guitar and the bass guitar and the drums and the trumpet, but I don't have the drums and trumpet. And there's also a piano over here. I don't know if you could see it because I have a lot of boxes of some things, but maybe you can see it. This is the piano behind my boxes. If you
I can see it. Oh yeah, there it is.
So I play a bunch of different things, and I have my language books over there too. So I have studied a few languages. But yes, this is my office. It's very messy because I'm leaving to take a plane to Italy today. So I'm coming to Europe very soon.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we were able to catch some time with you before you headed to the airport. So let's get our next question. Now we're sticking in the 5 boroughs right now. This next question comes to us from 2 sisters, 2 of our favorite campers in the Bronx. This is Lydia and Layla from the Bronx. Here we go.
Hi, Lawrence! Lydia and Layla here from Bronx, New York, and today we'll be asking you our questions. But before we start, I'd like to say it's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be having you. Now, on to the questions. How many countries have you visited?
I bet it was a lot.
How many languages do you know or have sung in? Thank you, bye!
Thank you, bye!
Oh, wow. Very, very sweet. Hi, Lydia and Layla.
So we've got 2 questions.
Yes.
All right.
So the first question, they asked how many countries have I been to, right?
Oof.
So
Yeah.
to this point, I have been to 47 countries and principalities, 47. And so a little fact about me, I'm 48 years old, and I am hoping to see 50 countries by the time I turn 50. So November of next year in 2022, I will be 50 years old. And so I've got 47 countries, and I'm hoping right now when I go to Europe in a few days that I will go to the next country, which will be Montenegro. So these are counting countries that I've never been to before. So hopefully I'll be at 48, then I'll just have a year and a half to get to 50, and that is my hope.
That's amazing. Lawrence, I have to tell you that the Met Global Summer Camp represents campers from 50 different countries. So,
wow.
So maybe, just maybe, you've been to probably a lot of these countries, I'm guessing. That is so cool.
I imagine that I've been to many of them, yes.
Now, Lawrence, I know the second part of the question was, what languages do you speak and how many have you had to sing in?
So I speak, well, obviously I speak English, but I speak I think I speak fluent Italian, and I speak decent French and German. So that's already 4. So I speak a little bit of Spanish, a little bit, and I've sung also in Russian and Latin, and I've also studied in Slovakian. So I think I've sung in about 7 or 8 languages, and I speak more or less 4 or 5 parts of them.
Oh, that is so impressive, and it leads me in sort of a way to our next question from James. But this is more about like the physical development of your voice as you grew up. So you started singing, you said, pretty seriously when you were 13, between 13 and 15. This question from James kind of is maybe a boy specific question, perhaps. Let's check it out.
Hello, my name is James and I'm from Singapore. My question for Lawrence is, what challenges do you face doing a voice change during puberty? And what advice would you give to boys going through the same transition? Thank you.
So the question is, what challenges did you face as your voice changed, as you went from being presumably like a boy soprano to being a tenor? And what advice do you have for other young singers in the same transition? Although everyone's voice changes and matures regardless of your gender. So it's a good question.
Well, it's a great question. It's a great question. And so my voice, as it changed, I had a very high voice as a boy soprano, but then it stayed in the tenor range. And so the thing that was important for me, I was in choruses as a young kid in high school and junior high school. And so the teachers never pushed me, but they gave us things so that we could sing in a healthy way. So what I've always told people, as their voice is changing, you don't have any control over that, but just to make sure that you're in an environment that you can sing in a healthy way to wherever your voice ends up going, that you can follow that. Some people will be basses, some people will be baritones, some people may be countertenors or tenors. Just be open to what your voice naturally does and don't try to force it into something it is not.
Oh, what great advice for James and for any young singer. I think when my voice changed, I really wanted to be a bass, and you can probably tell by talking to me that didn't turn out to be true. But I really wanted to have those deep low notes. But I'm going to hang with you up in the tenor range, although not quite nearly as high as you can. Our next question is from Andres, who is Venezuelan, and right now he's living in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And Andres has a great question about what I think was probably a very special day in your life. Here's Andres.
Hi, my name is Andres. I am Venezuelan and I live in Argentina. My question for Lawrence is, how was your debut at the Met? Thanks.
All right. So how was your debut performance at the Metropolitan Opera, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I think was in the Barber of Seville. Am I right?
You are right. It was 2007 and the Barber of Seville was my debut. So 14 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. How was my debut? It was the most important and memorable musical experience I've ever had because all of my family and friends were there. My fiance, who is now my wife, she was there. My mom and dad, all of my siblings, my 4 sisters and my 1 brother, my teachers from school, cousins, family, friends, my teachers, everyone was there. And so it was such a wonderful moment for me because it was my dream to sing at the Metropolitan Opera because it's the greatest opera company in the world. And so I was like, oh, I can't believe it. And I just had the most fun.
Oh my gosh, I bet it was an amazing night. Do you remember anything specific about the performance that stays with you?
I do. I had such an amazing cast. One of my very, very, very good friends, Joyce DiDonato, was singing Rosina. John Del Carlo, who is no longer with us today, he was singing Don Bartolo. My friend Russell Braun was singing Figaro. Sam Raimi, can you believe it? Sam Raimi was the Don Basilio. So I had an amazing cast for my debut. And the thing I remember is when I came to take my bow, all of them were crying because they were so supportive and wanting to be good colleagues for my debut. So this is the thing that I remember more than anything else.
That's so powerful and so moving. And our campers had a chance to meet Joyce. As you can see, they're big fans of Joyce. And I can only imagine what an enormous sort of sense of community you must have felt to be with all of those. Oh yeah, Sam Raimi is very good, right? Right, Mark, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Victoria says that's so touching, and not surprising, because every opera singer that I've had the good pleasure to meet has been such a community-minded person. I think that's there's this sort of old-timey stereotype in our head that, you know, everyone's a diva and everyone's, you know, trying to like push everyone out. That has not been the experience I've had, you know, working at the Met. Of course, I'm not a singer, but I see more often than not, it's a lot of like bringing people in and creating community, isn't it?
It is, because we all understand the nature of the business is very hard, because everybody thinks the life of an opera singer is so glamorous, but you
Yeah.
think that we have to be on the road so many days per year in the hotel rooms by ourselves. We become a little small family, and we support each other, and we root for one another. So it was like a really big family that day, and it was so moving and important for me in that very important debut for me.
I'm so thrilled that it happened. And now I think you've appeared on stage at the Met in 54, 55 different performances, they tell me. And I mean, and counting. I mean, we're gonna have you back. I can't wait to see you on stage at the Met again. Now that takes us to our next question from Maddie in Indiana. And she has a special, it's a two-parter. And one of these questions is about traveling the world as an opera singer. So let's take a look at Maddie.
Hi, my name is Maddie Cartledge from Bloomington, Indiana, and I have two questions. The first one is, not many of my friends like opera, and I was wondering if your children liked opera. My second question is, how do you keep in contact with your family while traveling all over the world to sing opera? Thanks.
All right, that's a two-parter. So, Lawrence, I believe you do have kids of your own. Is that right?
I do have two kids. I have a son who is 10 and my daughter's 9 years old. So, first of all, I want to give a shout out for Bloomington, Indiana, where Maddie is. Yes, go IU. That's where I went to graduate school. But yes, I do have two kids. Do they like opera? They respect it and appreciate it. My daughter, she likes to imitate me, and so I think she appreciates it. She knows that I do it as my career, but also it's a passion that I love, and so I think they really do like it. But they respect the fact that I am doing it as my career. So that's their opinion on liking opera. And how do I keep in touch with my family? I have my iPhone, I do FaceTime, I have my iPad or my laptop computer, which is right here. And so now that my kids are getting older, I can also text them, but we do FaceTime quite a bit. And sometimes we'll eat dinner at the same time, even if I'm in Europe or in Japan. You know, it'll be breakfast for me, but it'll be dinner for them. And sometimes we just put the phone there and we can spend time together. So that's the best way, either by phone or iPad or FaceTime.
Now, have you, during this pandemic period that we've all experienced, have you been able to spend more time with them than usual? Has that been special? I mean, that's been a silver lining.
It has been, and it's been nice to be at home when we spend so much time on the road. One of the silver linings, if people say that, people have been saying, is that we've had some time to connect more with our families and spend time. And so as my kids are getting bigger and older, it's been nice to see their maturation and how they've grown and them learning and doing things. And so that's been really important for me during the time of the pandemic.
That's awesome. I hope they'll join Met Opera Global Summer Camp next summer. I think that'd be fun to have them.
I'll definitely let them know.
This is a write-in question from Eliana, and I'm so glad that you asked, Eliana. Eliana M asks, Lawrence, I was wondering, what year did you sing your first opera? How old were you? And what was that opera? What opera was it?
Okay, the first year I sang an opera was 1992. 1992, and that opera was called The Magic Flute. And I sang the role of Tamino. So that was my first introduction into opera, and I really had the most fun, and I thought, this is something that I think I can continue to do.
Oh my gosh, what a great first role for you. I would love to see you play Tamino. Is that a role that you still sing often or not?
Actually, the next time I will sing the role, I will be doing it at the Metropolitan Opera.
What?
Oh, yes.
Oh my
I've done it
gosh.
a few times already, and so I do enjoy it. But I'm excited to bring that to the Met.
Oh, that's really fun. Oh my gosh. And we know the Magic Flute. They're very excited because we did the Magic Flute for week 1 of Global Summer Camp. So all of our campers, we know the Magic Flute. That's right. That's so exciting. Okay, so let's see. Let's go. Questions. This is a question from Andres' sister, Valeria, who's also from Venezuela but living in Argentina right now. This is a great question about our opera of the week.
Hi, I'm Valeria. I'm Venezuelan and I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina. My question for Lawrence is, how did you prepare for the role of Almaviva? Thank you.
So the question is, how did Lawrence prepare for the role of Count Almaviva in Rossini's The Barber of Seville? Also, your Met debut, lots of pressure. Had you sung the role before you did at the Met?
Yes. So there's a very interesting story that I'll tell briefly about The Barber of Seville. I first sang The Barber of Seville when I was at Indiana University in Bloomington.
Oh, cool.
But I sang it in English. And I knew the music, but I'd never gotten to perform it in Italian. So fast forward, I remember when I was a young artist in Seattle, I got an offer to sing the role at a theater in Milan, Italy called Teatro alla Scala. And so I was just fresh out of a young artist program, and I had never sung the opera in Italian. Of course, I was going to have to sing it in Italian. Later on, Virginia Opera offered me the contract to sing Almaviva before. I got the contract after for Virginia, but they gave me the opportunity to sing 10 performances of the role in Italian in Virginia before I was supposed to go that next summer and sing it in La Scala. So that's how I prepared for it. I first learned it in English with my coaches and my teachers, and then I learned it later on with coaches and teachers in Italian, the original language, before I had to go to Milan, Italy, and sing it for all Italian people in Italian.
Oh my gosh. And what was that debut at La Scala like for you? Was it scary to sing it in Italian for the first time in front of Italians?
I thought about it and I wasn't nervous because I thought I had prepared so well for it. I studied a lot. I had good coaches. I had good teachers and people who had already performed on that stage. So they gave me some advice. They said, don't be nervous. Make sure you pick certain places to stay on the stage because the acoustic is not always great. So be in this place or do this. And so with all of this advice, it helped me to be successful. After I went and did the audition on the stage, it helped me to be successful later on.
Oh, that's really cool. Wow. I love that you were kind of working your way up from like smaller productions to like big opera houses and then to the Met. I mean, that's a great way to adjust to a very, very demanding, very a star turn, right? All right.
Yes.
I have a question that was a write-in. This is from our friend Ishan in New Delhi, India. Ishan asks, Lawrence, how do you take care of your voice? I see you have your water right next to your desk there, so I know that's part of it.
Yes, you need to drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of warm liquids, and I also try to get a lot of sleep. And I don't do anything to harm my voice. People talk about vocal technique. So even as I'm speaking, I'm trying to speak in a way that's healthy for my voice so I don't do any damage. But it's just understanding your instrument and realizing that it is something that you do your job with. So the tips I have for taking care of my voice: get a lot of rest, drink a lot of liquids, don't do too much, don't talk too loudly, try to support when you speak, and don't talk like this, which can not do good things to your voice. So I always try to use my whole body when I speak with my voice, and those are the things that help me stay vocally healthy, because I have to do a lot, and sometimes I have to do a bunch back to back to back. And so I need to make sure that I take care of my instrument as best as possible.
You can tell just in speaking to you that you're someone who's fully supporting even your speaking voice. That's a really great advice, because I think there's a tendency with a lot of young people, young performers, to kind of talk on the back of the voice like this.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
so
quite American, I think.
yeah.
Trying to be cool, like.
All right, let's go through these tips one more time. So Lawrence's tips for taking care of the voice: drink lots of water, drink lots of warm liquids, get lots of sleep, and always treat your voice kindly, even when speaking. Thanks, Dr. Kamala, for getting all that in for us. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We got so many good questions. We're having a great time here. Okay, we did Valeria. Oh my gosh. Friends, I also hope that you're taking the opportunity to pop a few questions into the chat. Now, this is a bel canto specific question from one of your biggest fans. This question's from our friend Mark. Here we go.
Hi Lawrence, I'm Mark. I really love your high F and Di Puritani. If you could sing one role outside of your voice type, what would it be? Thanks.
All right. So Mark's a big fan. So let's set this up for maybe our viewers who don't know I Puritani and the specific performance. So this is another bel canto opera, right? And
yes, Bellini, I Puritani.
I Puritani. And in this opera, the role that you perform sings an F above high C. An F above the staff, above the C, above the staff.
4 notes higher than the C.
Wow. So how do you even warm yourself up to be ready to sing that high?
I've always had a high voice, and I remember many years ago when I sang the role for the first time, I spoke with the conductor. I would say that probably 90% of the people who sing the role don't sing the high F because it's really, really high. I always tell people that I have to wear my shoes one size too small in order to sing that note. But it's something that we found out early on that I had in my voice in a way that was supported and sounded like my voice. Not that the note sounds pretty, but it was something that I could manage to do. And so after doing it in the first performances, the conductor said, you have to do it every show. And so people know that I've had the note. And so anytime I sing Puritani, they'll say, you have to sing the high F. So the high F is really, really high. But if there's a role that I want to sing outside of my Fach or voice type, oh my gosh, I think it would be really fun to sing the role of, I don't know. There's so many. Maybe the Count in The Marriage of Figaro, I think would be a fun role to sing, which is in the story a continuation of The Barber of Seville, but the voice type is a little bit lower, but it's a great role. Either that or Eugene Onegin, I think would also be an interesting role. But of course, those are for baritones and not my voice.
Oh my gosh, two of my favorite operas. I would love to see you in those roles. I would love to like have a night at the Met where everybody mixes it up, where, I don't know, you play Eugene Onegin, Joyce plays Don Giovanni. I don't know, we could have a good time. Yeah, opera karaoke night. That's so awesome. Okay, friends, I just saw a question. We always get this question, and this is from Saskia, who's in Utah, I believe, in the United States. Saskia asks, what's your favorite costume you've ever worn?
Oh my gosh. I wish I had the picture of it, but I don't. I remember I was singing I Puritani in Chicago, and they brought me the boots, and the boots had a name in them. What happens a lot of times in operas, you wear the costumes from the original production. And so when I looked in the boots, it said Pavarotti. I said, what? I'm wearing the shoes that Luciano Pavarotti wore? Oh my gosh. I also, when I was in Vienna Staatsoper, I looked in my costume and it said Fritz Wunderlich. And I said, oh my gosh. So for me, it's been fun to wear the costumes of some of the great singers of the past because they keep them in good shape because they want to retain or maintain the original production and how it was conceived without making new costumes. Now, I'm not the same height as Pavarotti or the same build. He was a bit bigger than I am, but we have the same size feet. And so that was one of the costume pieces that was really, Oh, great.
Oh my gosh. That must be something when you're a young person preparing for a life in opera. That's something that's like beyond your wildest imagining, right? Because I imagine as a young tenor, did you idolize Pavarotti? Did you listen to his recordings? Sure. And then to be like, you're literally walking in his shoes.
Right. And
That's
I remember when I first started, the three tenors were making these CDs and concerts. And that was the thing that first captivated me to think, oh my gosh, maybe I want to try and be an opera singer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I've got another write-in question here. This is super fun. This is from Sujung Kim. We get this question a lot, and I always love the answer. What was your most embarrassing moment in an opera? They love this. The campers are ruthless. Thanks, Sujung.
It was funny, we're talking about Barbara Seville quite a bit. And it was the second time that I was doing it with Joyce DiDonato. Joyce and I, we have so much fun on stage. And I remember we were playing around and doing something. And I think I went with a lot of energy and I split my pants. I mean, I had from the back of my pants all the way down, I had a big split. So I was trying to hide myself from the audience so people wouldn't see what I had on underneath. And it was like, for me, I couldn't believe that I split my pants. But
Oh
that
my
was
gosh.
the most embarrassing moment that I've had in an opera because I had to try to get off stage and do one of these things where people couldn't see the back of my pants.
Oh yeah, and when you and I'm just wondering because we've met some friends who work in the Met's costume shop this summer, and I'm wondering if was there someone waiting in the wings with a fresh set of pants? Did they just know it happened, or did you have to go on for the rest of the show with those same pants?
Well, by the time that the thing with Almaviva, it's 4 characters. So anytime I go off stage, it's like I'm changing costumes.
Oh, phew.
So I had to go into another costume anyway. But
Oh, good.
For the next performance, you better believe they reinforced those pants to make sure I wouldn't rip them again.
All right, way to go. We're looking at our friend Rainice Primrose in the Mets costume shop and all of our friends there. I've got a great question from Malaya in Oregon in the United States. This is an interesting question. Malaya asks, if you had to do a different type of job that is connected to opera, what would it be? So something in the world of opera that maybe isn't necessarily performing. Does anything interest you?
Well, now because I have performed quite a bit, I'm getting to the age that people are asking me for advice for different things. So what I would love to do is be a director of a young artist program where I could encourage other singers, give them career advice, expose them to different people, but also give help them guide their careers and give them some things that are very important as far as some of the language things, also some aspects of business that I think is very important for singers of all ages. And so if I were in the opera business and not singing, I think I would be doing some advising or working in some type of administrative position.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad to hear that, Lawrence, because I think young people, and I don't want to generalize, Victoria, I saw you calling me out for generalizing young people. I saw that in the chat. But I think that often, when I was young, so I'll speak from my experience, I thought if I can't be in the spotlight, what's the point?
I think some people have that, but I want to get back.
Yeah. And Ines says that's such a great idea, Mr. Lawrence. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So, we're getting so many good questions in the chat. We have a few more video questions to get to. Ooh. I know Lawrence has to catch a flight, so I'm trying to be really respectful of his time. Okay, let's go with, all right, Eliana asks, connected to that question, if you had to do a job that isn't connected to opera, anything else you could do? We met Jennifer Rowley last week. She said she dreamed of being a chef. She still thinks about being a chef. That's something that she thinks about. What would it be for you?
One of the things, there's so many things I love to do. I love to play ping pong. I love to play tennis. I'm very much into photography, and this is a new lens that I have, which I was fiddling with. So what would I do? Honestly, if I could have any other job that wasn't connected to opera, I think I would be a sports broadcaster.
Oh,
I love sports. I love American football and other sports as well, tennis. And I would love to be a journalist that covers some professional sports. So that would be my chosen profession.
I love that for you. I love the idea of you kind of being a sports commentator, and especially because we're all watching. I'm watching the Olympics all the time right now. It's fun to imagine. Sometimes I'm like, what are they talking about? But I
Yeah.
bet you would know what you were talking about. Um, yes, Lawrence would be a sports broadcaster journalist. Okay, let's go back to my video questions. Okay, this is from our friend Diego in Argentina. Big props to Argentina today, getting all these questions in. This is from
Yeah.
Diego. Uh, Diego is an aspiring singer, and he has a special question for you.
Hi, my name is Diego and I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm 12 years old and I want to become an opera singer. So my question for Lawrence is, what advice can you give me to start preparing? Thank you. Bye.
So Diego's question, friends, is what advice can Lawrence give an aspiring opera singer like Diego to kind of start his career and just stay on that path?
I would tell Diego, as much as you can, involve yourself in different activities that deal with music. If you have music in school, be in the choir. If they have special programs, try to sing for those. If you are involved in some type of community choir or a church choir, that's the best way to do it. But anytime you have the opportunity to spend more time with music and sing things in different languages, because Diego already, I'm sure you speak and sing in Spanish, but you speak and sing in English. Those are already good foundational things. And so learn anytime you get this chance to explore new languages or explore new ways to involve yourself in music. This is the best way, because even at an early age, it was the exposure to music that made me decide I want to try to be an opera singer. So already you seem like you're on a good track. And so continue in that. Anytime you can, expose yourself to different music in different languages.
Oh, great advice. Okay, we got a write in here from Vika in England. Vika or Vika, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Okay. If something goes wrong on stage, you fall over or you split your pants open, what do you do? And how would you feel if this happened? What a great question. How do you keep it going when something goes wrong?
Well, we have a saying in the United States that the show must go on. And there are a lot of things that happen that the audience never knows. And our job as professionals is to make it that the audience doesn't recognize that something's not perfect. And some people will say, I thought that was a part of the show. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. But you have to be the professional and so comfortable in what you're doing that the audience does not know, and that their them enjoying the performance isn't interrupted by something like that happens. If it does happen and you can't control, what happens because of it, you just have to keep going on. So it's just not thought about so long.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good question. I think we've got time for two more here, and I have a video question I want to go send us home with. So this is from Aria, who's using, I think, her father's account. Hi, Lawrence Brownlee. I'm Aria in Madrid, Spain. What a great name. My question for you is, what do you do if you were seriously ill or just ill on the same day that you have to perform? What do you do?
Well, Arya, that's a wonderful question. Now, it's happened that I have been very ill when I've had to perform, and sometimes I go on and sometimes I cancel. In many situations, they may have a cover, which is someone who's an understudy or who's studying the role in case one of the principal singers can't sing that night. So even one time at the Metropolitan Opera, I had to call in and say, I can't do it because I'm sick. And then someone came to sing the show for me. It has also happened that I have had to go in for other singers, my colleagues, when they have been sick. And then we call them jump ins, where we jump into the role and we sing something that we've done before. So when you're sick, you just have to know yourself and know your abilities. Sometimes you feel like I am sick and I'm not 100%, but I can still do the job. And so you just have to make the best decision for you.
Great answer. And I know from just being around the Metropolitan Opera for these past 6 years of my life that for every opera performance in a star role, like the kind of role that Lawrence would play, there's always a cover who's literally in the opera house, usually in the green room, they call it, which is sort of a holding room. All the covers or the understudies are there together. And then there's also usually a secondary person somewhere within New York City who also is prepared to go on. So usually you have a double backup. I know that is the case at the Met. I'm sure every opera company is different, but that's, and there are a number of singers, especially early career singers, who that's a great way to get started and to learn a role and to get to be known to an opera company, and you never know what's going to happen. You might get to go on, right?
Many people have made their big break by stepping in for someone, and it has also happened even in the Metropolitan Opera that someone has to come on in the middle of a performance. I have been on stage before where one of my colleagues said, I can't go on any further. And they had to get someone ready in the break to come in and act two and finish the rest of the performer. What they normally, the rest of the performance, what they normally do when we have someone that we say is indisposed, the general director or one of the important artistic directors of the company will come on stage in the beginning of the act to say, the person who's singing the role, for example, if it were me, Lawrence Brownlee is not able to continue, but his cover, Camp Counselor Dan will come in and finish the role of Arturo in Puritani to sing the high F. So this is how it happens.
I'm ready with that high F. I'll just, it'll be more like Mariah Carey than like Lawrence Brownlee, but I'll get there. Okay, Lawrence, this is a question I think is a great way for us to just, first of all, thank you for being here. This is a little advice question. Friends, if you would like to connect with Lawrence on Instagram, there you can follow him. It's Brownlee Tenor. I have to say, Lawrence has some fantastic social media. He's very funny. If you're on Twitter, and then also check out what's going on in his world at lawrencebrownlee.com. He had an album that dropped last November. It's sensational, an album of Rossini duets, I believe. It's just wonderful. Check it out. Friends, we're so grateful to you. Let's take this last question from Olivia in Chicago. Here we go, Lawrence.
Hi, I'm Olivia from Chicago, and my question for Mr. Lawrence is, what advice would you give a young person who wants to sing but is afraid of what people will think?
Great question. Great question. You know what someone told me a long time ago is to sing from my heart. And when you sing from my heart, it touches people in a different way. So I don't worry about others. I worry about expressing myself. I worry about doing something that's meaningful to me. And so if I'm doing that, I don't have the time to worry about what other people think, because if you want to sing and it's something that you're meant to do, people will know the difference and you'll be able to touch people. And that'll be so much more important to you rather than someone who may be saying, oh, look at Olivia sing this, or look at Lawrence sing this, or look at Camp Counselor Dan sing this. It's more important for you to have a sense of fulfillment and to touch people. So that's the thing I always think about, and just do it with as much heart and as much care as you can, and that will make all the difference.
What a great answer to a fantastic question, Victoria. You are right. Friends, we have just shared this incredible 45 minutes with the one and only Lawrence Brownlee, who is a star of the Metropolitan Opera stage and the global opera stage. He is everywhere around the world. We're gonna see him on stage, hopefully at the Met very soon, as long as everybody keeps washing their hands, wearing their masks, getting their shots, doing all the things. And friends, I want to thank you, Lawrence. Do you have any final words of advice for these young opera lovers scattered around the world, our little community here?
Yeah, my advice is just keep following your dreams, keep loving music, keep having these very interesting and provocative questions, keep being interested in the art form because you really are the future of it. And just because you're interested now, some of you will be the great singers, but some of you may be great agents or great conductors or great orchestra members or great choristers or great costume people. And it's the people who are interested in this art form, you guys at your age, that really are so important to the future of this art form. So keep doing what you're doing, and I hope to continue to keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can, and we'll keep this wonderful art form alive and well.
Here, here, Lawrence, you said it best. They are the future, and we're so grateful that you spent some time with us today. Friends, thank you. Let's just say goodbye to our friend Lawrence. Lawrence, travel safely. Toi on your performance in Italy. Have a great time.
Let me just say really quickly where I'm going. I'm going to Italy, then I'm going to Croatia, then I'm going to Copenhagen, Denmark, and Budapest, Hungary. So if any of you are there, I hope to say hi to you.
Okay? Oh my gosh, absolutely, friends. You heard it. You can keep up with all of his travels. All right, Lawrence, we'll see you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
Be well.
Thank
you. Oh my gosh, everyone. I am losing my mind. I'm kind of freaking out. Lawrence Brownlee is so nice. I actually never met Lawrence before, but what a lovely, thoughtful, smart person, right? And that voice, are you kidding me? Okay. We have an action-packed day here at Met Global Summer Camp. Friends, you have at the moment, about 45 minutes to go get a snack, get your supplies together, and then we are going to have a bonus crafting session with the one and only Stephanie Sine-Wilson, who is going to teach us a little bit about Commedia dell'arte, which is a sort of Renaissance era performance structure that is the basis not only for the Barber of Seville, but for almost every cartoon, comedy, TV show, movie that's funny, anything funny. This is kind of where it all started. But it's a crafting thing. So I'm very curious to see what Stephanie is going to come up with. As you know, Stephanie is a fabulous clown, aerialist, and she's always got a bunch of tricks up her sleeve. So friends, join us this is 1:30 New York City time. Check the Google Classroom for the next link. And you can also, don't forget, you can start watching the Met's production of Rossini's Il Barbiere di Siviglia in about 4 hours. And you just met the star. I mean, how cool is that, right? Okay, everyone. I'll see you with Stephanie very shortly. I'm going to go get a coffee and fanboy out a little bit. All right, everyone. I think what I'd like to do is send us off with another performance of Lawrence in La Donna del Lago. Check this out. This is going to knock your socks off. Thanks, Lawrence.